What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Blue Line Patriot. So today we're going to be reviewing a video that I copied from Buff Nerd Gaming. So I want to give him all the credit for all of the video. It's just going to be my voice overlaid on top of some things here and there. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to put my 2 cents in. Now, here's the thing. This is why I feel qualified to add my 2 cents. I did spend some time in the military. I was a Navy Master at Arms. Basically what that means, guys, is that I was like force protection. So if there was an active shooter on base, I was one of the guys that would go and extinguish that threat. So I got a lot of tactical training, especially when it comes to ARs, pistols, shotguns, all that sorts of things. So close quarters combat is kind of my forte. Combat medical, this sort of thing. Now, after the Navy, I went into security contracting for a little while. I did that for 5 years, and then I became a police officer. And while I was a police officer, I was part-time, and I did do 1 year with sheriff's office local here. So right now, I'm back on the streets as a regular police officer. But that's kind of that's kind of my background there. So things when it comes to small arms, tactics, stuff like that, especially weapons. I'm very, very, very big into weapons and tactics. So I did see a couple of things that I would like to correct here. Hopefully the developers might come across this and they might fix those things. And they're kind of small things. So we're going to watch this video together. I'm going to kind of sit back and I'm going to add my 2 cents here and there.
Hey guys, Buff and Gamebad. Today bringing our video, and today we are breaking down the Modern Warfare 2 Gunsmith and how it works with platforms, etc. here in the Modern Warfare 2 Open Beta, the Early Access Beta. If you guys want to check out some of the gameplay, I did do the live stream today here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check that out. I'm going to leave that VOD up for you. I'll also be streaming here probably on and off this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, as well as probably over on Twitch. So those links are going to be down below in the description. And as you can see, I have the Lockman 556 or the HK 33/53. So this is something that I don't think you're supposed to unlock, but I'll show you guys how to do that. But let's go ahead. First off, I'll show that more so at the end of the video. But first off, let's just back out quick. I'm gonna just give you guys the rundown for the weapons. But first off, I just want to show off the operators in the menu here. So the menu itself looks awesome. You have 2 factions, Specgru and Cortac. So Specgru, if we look at them first, what you're gonna have is your operators, then you have your main default / milsim operator that we'll see here in a minute. So Koenig, I believe he's supposed to be an Austrian operator here. He looks similar to some of the operators that we would see in Modern Warfare 2019, but he is a new operator. We have Gus. Let you guys get a look at him here. I'm not sure what country Gus is from. We can't access the bio for these guys yet. Then we have Zemo. This guy is a Chinese operator. You can see the Chinese flag. It's on his back, his rear backpack, his chest plate, as well as his left arm. Cleo, not sure what specific country she's from. If we backtrack, we may be able to see the flag. Maybe Denmark. A little hard to see there. And again, we can't rotate the operators yet in this build. Captain Price for the Team 141 bundle that we got here for my pre-order of the Vault Edition. So there's Price. Here's Farah. And again, these cosmetic outfits look pretty good. And you can see her with the default AK there. So that looks like it's going to be an RPK 74 type build there. So that looks pretty nice. We cannot level up the AK at all right now for gunsmithing, but we'll look at that further later. We have Ghost with a Scar Light. And again, these operators all have like different weapons. So that's one thing to note. Some of these guys have different weapons, and mainly just the Task Force 141 have these new weapons. Soap has the HK-33, and then our default operator here, Specgru 1. These are the ones we can customize currently, so you can see unit operator taunt, finishing move, and if we select the operator we have currently for both these, we have 4 choices. So we have Specgru 4, Specgru 3, Specgru 2, and Specgru 1. So I'm running Specgru 4. I think he looks really nice. He's got the nods there. Looks pretty good. Next up for Cortac, we have Fender. I believe he's supposed to be a Mexican operator. We have Hutch, an American operator. Harangi, hopefully I'm not butchering that pronunciation. This is a South Korean operator. Nova. And then we have Cortac 1. These are the milsims. Again, these are obviously, it looks like supposed to be Russian Special Forces FSB. So if we look at the skins here, we have Cortac 1, Core Tech 2, 3, and 4. I think 3 and 1 look the best in my opinion. So those are the operators. The operator screen look really good. Store is obviously unavailable. Here's your...
Alright guys, so we got to check out the operators there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Now I will say that this cringy stuff, man, I don't know if it's ever going to stop, but Battlefield 24 was definitely way worse. But this is also, like, for example, you see the one dude with, like, the ghost. He's got a cape. Let me tell you something about capes, guys. In real life, capes are just going to hang up in doorways. They're going to hang up in vehicles. They're going to snag on pretty much anything with any rough edges. And of course in combat, that's not what you need, right? So when I see a cape, especially whenever I see a cape, it's always cringy, but especially in a combat application, yikes. Anyway, so another operator, I forget his name, but he had a, what do you call it? He had like a veil. It was like the first operator they showed on Spec Crew. He had a veil. It's like that thing covering your face, like a sheet covering your face with a couple of holes in it. Again, that's just another thing, man. In real life, your situational awareness is going to be non-existent. You're not going to be, you're going to be like looking through straws. Maybe there's a story behind that. I don't know. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time because it got really dumb for me for a bit. But then the same thing happened with Battlefield. So here I am. I'm circling back. But anyway, yeah, it's just goofy stuff. I don't really like to see that. Some people like it. I get it. There's a demographic out there for it. But when you're trying to make a realistic military game, you see stuff like that. It's like, whatever. But I get it. It's Call of Duty. Price looked a little goofy. He actually looked kind of okay, but the mask he was wearing, it looked like he was going to an Eyes Wide Shut convention. So that's just something that trying to get past that. It doesn't ruin the game for me because realistically, I'm going to go with Spec 4 anyhow. I'm going to go with that mil spec guy. I'm going to, probably the second or third setting. I like that. I don't like the fourth because he's got the nods. It's one thing, like if it's at nighttime and you have like a nods option, you know what I mean? You can toggle it. That's cool. But if you're playing a day map with that, it's just, in real life, you're not going to have that in day. You're going to put that in your pack. You're going to store that. You're going to leave it back at the barracks. It's just a bunch of extra weight that you're not going to have on you as an actual operator in certain conditions. Now, like I said, if it's nighttime or you're going in caves or whatever, by all means, break out the NVGs. But otherwise, put them away because it looks goofy.
Play menu for the menu looks really nice. Now, again, jumping into weapons. So let's start with the M4 here. Just because I'm going to show you guys how platforms work. But first off, let's look at all the weapons. This is going to give you some context as to what we're talking about. So, all the weapons for the beta, these are obviously not all the weapons. And I'll do a video on all the weapons tomorrow and what they are in real life and what's missing from this. We'll do a breakdown from everything from the trailers as well as here in game. So, just so you guys can see, we have the Lockman 5.56, the M4, M16, the AKS-74U, which is in the assault rifle class now, which is a good hint for the conversions we're going to get for this, which is good. We have the Scar Light here, the TAC-56, and this one you can unlock you can see the unlock is at rank 30, so we won't get that till the second week of the beta. Battle rifles, we have the FTAC Recon, which is at M4 and 4.58 SOCOM. We have the G3 and the Lockman 7.62. SMGs, we have the MP5. We have the AR-57. We have the Chris Vector. Shotguns, we have the Benelli M4. Light machine guns, we have the Fightlight MCR, the HK21, and we have the IWI Negev NG7, or the Negev 7 NG7 is the 7.62 variant of the 5.56 version, the NG5. We have the marksman rifles of the PSG-1, and then we have the Lockwood Mark II carbine, and then sniper rifles, we have the GM6 Lynx firing 50 BMG with that reciprocating barrel, which it does reciprocate in game, which is really nice. So there's a couple things to know here. These are based on weapon platforms. So right now, the two platforms that are consistent across different weapon.
Okay, guys, so we got a pretty good look at some weapons that are available, and just like he said, when the alpha comes out. you know, there's going to be more added and whatnot. There's probably going to be some changes made. Now, one thing that I just like to put out there, everything looks good. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is I'm a little bit concerned that the AK especially might just be limited to 545. That's the poison bullet, if you will. I'm worried that there's not going to be any 7.62 by 39 because I'm 32 years old. I was born in 89. You know, growing up with Call of Duties and Modern Warfares, you know, back in the OG days, like we had AKs, man. We had AKMs. And I got to tell you, the one thing that I'm missing so much in these games nowadays is just a good old-fashioned AKM. 7.62 by 39 millimeter with the curved magazine, and it's a little bit more curved than the magazine that you see here. So we can't pretend it's the same gun. We can't pretend it's the same caliber. You know, so I'm a little worried about that. So if any of the developers or whatever come across this, you know, there's two things in this game that I'll recommend, and one of them is definitely, you know, have an option to go to the 7.62 by 39 millimeter for the AK platform, and boom, you got it. You nailed it there. But I'm a little bit worried that we're not going to do that. I hope we do. Anyway, let's continue. Let's see what else we got to look forward to.
Categories here are the Lockman 5.56 and the M4. So this is the HK platform for the HK 33 and 56, I believe it is. Getting all these numbers confused. Been playing too long, covering too many weapons the past couple days. But HK 53 and 33 is what it is. And then the M4. So if we look at this, the M4 platform, we have an M4, an M16. These are part of the same platform. Battle rifle is the FTAC Recon for M458 SOCON. This is part of the M4 platform. LMGs, or SMGs, excuse me, the AR-57 is M4 platform. And then LMGs, the Fight Light MCR is M4 platform. Marksman, nothing else there. So those are the M4 platform weapons. The HK platform weapons here are the HK 33. We have the G3, the MP5. We have the HK21, the PSG1. So these platforms will unlock different weapons in these different categories. So if we look at the gunsmith here for the M4, we'll start just looking at the attachments. So let's run through all the attachments first for the M4, and then we'll get into the kind of how the receiver options work here for the platform. So first off, attachments. Start with muzzle. Right now, what I have here, Bruin Spearhead suppressor, another the GSX suppressor. We're gonna have to get used to all these names because nothing is really repetitive from Modern Warfare 2019. We have a heavy compensator here, 4-stack Castle Comp, C400 door knocker. This is going to be for melee damage and close quarters combat, increased melee damage and breaching. And then everything else here is classified, but you can see the amount of muzzle attachments that we have. We can see the picture for some of these. A lot of different suppressors, compensators, muzzle brake. I think I spot right here. Here, this one or another one, maybe the Sailor Arms Industries muzzle brake compensator combo. But you can see all of the different options that you have for muzzles. Barrel options here, we'll get more into this, but we have, this is for the M4 platform. Now, there's going to be specific barrel options and specific attachments for the different receiver type you use. Because with a different receiver, you're converting this into a different weapon. So you guys can see the different attachments here. And again, we're going to dive all into this when the game actually releases and I start doing the conversion. So if you enjoy that type of stuff, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'll be covering all of that when the game releases. I don't want to get too much into the conversions yet, but this is just a preview of what's to come because there's a lot to work with here, which is really good. Laser options, I think I counted there's 12 laser options. I can confirm flashlights are in the game because we'll take a look at those. So some of these may be IR flashlights for night vision. Some are probably laser light combos. If I had to guess, you have 12 options here for lasers. So that's a lot of lasers versus the 3 that we had in Modern Warfare 2019. Optics. So optics, we have a lot of one-time magnification optics like this.
And halt. Full stop. We're looking at this aim point right here. Call of Duty developers. This is the one thing that you royally fucked up on. Pardon my language. There's no other way to say it without sacrificing accuracy of an explanation on how bad you messed up. How bad you messed up. Okay. Now, here's the problem. The height for the aim point here is completely wrong. For any weapon system that has a rail across the top here, you have backup iron sights, and those backup iron sights are those flip sights you see there. You see a rear sight, and a lot more forward, you see a front sight. Those sights flip up when your optic goes down. The problem is co-witnessing. If you're familiar with the term co-witnessing, basically if you try and look through those iron sights when they're flipped up, you're not going to be able to see through your sights because of the height of the optic of that aim point right there. So that aim point needs to be picked up a little bit. So you need a spacer, a riser, just pick it up a little bit more so that if you were to pop your iron sights up, you'd be able to look through your rear iron sights, look straight through your aim point, and you'd be able to see, you'd be able to see your front sight. So co-witnessing is a big thing. Now there's 3 types of co-witnessing. There's a lower 1/3 where if you're looking through your iron sights, through your optic, you can line your sights up on the bottom of the optic. There's so that your lower 1/3 co-witness. There's a true co-witness where it's basically in the middle. So if you're looking through your rear sight, you can look through your optic to see your front sight, and your front sight's basically going to be in the middle of that optic, pretty much where your red dot would be. And then there's an upper 1/3 co-witness, and that's basically if you were to pop your sights, you would be able to look through your rear sight through your optic to see your front sight, but your front sight would be more towards the top, the upper 1/3. So those things we got to fix. We got to fix that. This is going out to a demographic of people who understand firearms, who use firearms, who have been around firearms, and something like that is a killer. That right there almost kills the game for me, but because there's another optic that I saw that was pretty cool, it has the right, it looks to have the proper elevation. It's okay, but I'm not going to use that aim point, even though I want to use that aim point. I had that on my original duty rifle for a long time. We had them in the military. It was great. It's a great sight, but you have to have the proper elevation for it. Now, if you were to put this sight on an try to think here, on an AK or on a I guess any kind of HK, it would go fine because of the sight access on it. But when you deal with any kind of weapon that has a rail system on the top of it, like a Bren, like an AR, like a SCAR, you have to take into consideration the height of the optic, because of course if you have your iron sights, again, you're going to want to co-witness them. And don't just like take the iron sights off, all of the guns, and just leave the upper, or leave the optic just the way it is, because it's just going to look even worse. All right, all of these guns should have backup iron sights on them if they have rails. They should all have optics, and the optics should be in the proper placement. Now, it's not so bad here, it's okay, but I think there are a couple of optics that are just by default, they're in the wrong spot. So it would be kind of cool if you can kind of bump them forward or bump them back a couple of rail spaces, just to kind of adjust that. So that would be an excellent thing to add towards all this. But anyway, guys, that's all I'm going to say about the optics. But yeah, the optics definitely need some work. They definitely need some work. So hopefully we can get that done before release. Hopefully we could fix that before release. Hopefully that's already in the works of getting fixed up. My fingers crossed, because if there's one thing, guys, that I want to see fixed is definitely the optic sight, or the optic height on top of the rails. I want to see a proper height there. So fingers crossed. I know you guys can do it, but the question is, will you? We'll find out. But anyway, let's continue and see what else we got going on.
Aim point optic, the EOTech, and then you can see this one is a cutting-edge thermal holographic sight. So this is a flip sight, 3-time magnification, and the flip is thermal. Otherwise, it's just the regular holographic or red dot optic there. You have a 7 times thermal sight, and then you can see the other ones. You have the Leopold hammered, and there's a lot of optics. Some of these on the...
One more thing I'll say about the aim point real fast is take off those scope covers. Just get rid of them, or you could just take the top cover off. Basically how they work is there's a pin going through the top and the bottom that hinges. In real life, all you do is knock the pin out and then you take the top caps off, and you could leave the lower ones there so it doesn't look barren or whatever. So that's a design feature that you can exploit. The thing is with the scope caps, guys, number one, it covers up more space. You don't want that covered up, you know, on top. If you're looking over the rifle, it's going to block your point of view. It's going to obscure. Dudes who really use these in combat do not have the scope caps or the covers on them. Basically, guys, the reason for that is the only time those scope caps are to protect it from damage. The only time it's going to get damaged is when you're using it. So when you're using it, you don't want your scope caps on. And when it's in storage, it's not going to get damaged. So it doesn't really make much sense to put the scope caps on when you're storing it. You know what I mean? So just, you know, fix the height on that and get rid of the scope caps. And again, you have a winner. You have a winner of a game. But the question is, you know, is that going to get done? I really, 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 truly hope so. But anyway, that's it for that. Let's continue. Let's see what else we got going on.
Base weapons for the default classes do have built-in rangefinders on them, which is really cool for some of those holographics. Probably something like this one here or some of these other ones, but you can see all the different optics. This one here probably has a built-in rangefinder. You can see the differences with the icons here. There's our VLK. Here's our Alcan Spectre. Hopefully allows you to utilize the top-mounted delta ring there for the 1 to 4. And then you have a bunch of zoom magnifications. Here's probably a thermal optic, that Russian thermal optic. A bunch of different sniper and thermal scopes. We have 2 different 4x flips. I believe one is an EOTech with a flip, and I believe another one is probably a Russian flip. It looks like, or potentially a Israeli version from IWI. And then some additional sniper scopes. One of them, I think, potentially this one, maybe a 20x sniper scope, which would be really crazy and fun to use again in Warzone, Ground War, things like that. Stock options. So stock options, again, are... you have a lot that are shared, and then you have unique. So you have the buffer tube, we have the Ravager 8.
So the stocks, I will say, they actually look pretty decent. I like them all except for this stock that we see right here, this Demo Fade Pro stock. I don't know what they did there. I think they saw a brace and just kind of made it into a stock. That'd be my guess because of the gaps in it. It looks like maybe it's supposed to be a brace, but they turn it into a stock. I don't know. But yeah, my favorite one out of all this is that Ordnance Revenge. I think it's so tiny I could barely read it, but it's the one just before this one. I think that's the stock I'm going to use the most. I truly hope that they put a Magpool CTR stock in here as an option, and I hope that they put a what do you call it, like a mil-spec M4 stock in it as well. And another thing I want to just point out right here is if you look at the safety, the fire selector, the dimensions on that are all wrong. They have it, if you tried to put the weapon on fire, it wouldn't even move because of the little point is I don't know, contacting that little, I don't even know what to call it. That part there, I'll draw an arrow. So that part there is contacting that part there, and you wouldn't really even be able to move it. Anyway, guys, for the developers, just go look at a real fire selector on an AR and just copy and paste it in there. Also, just from a military, security contractor, police, sheriff's deputy mindset, weapon safety has always been a big thing when it comes to weapons. When you're in the gunsmith, just put the weapon on safe. Put the ARs, put all the weapons on safe, just for the hell of it. You know, it's not a bad thing to do. It's a good subliminal training thing for people who are around firearms. They're going to get that in their head to be safe with firearms. Anyway, that's my little gripe there. Let's see what else we got going on.
Demo Fade Pro stock, the Tempest P80 Strike stock, the M16 stock, and then we have the factory stock here. This one's going to give you aim stability and recoil control. And we'll get into all of these attachments, what they are in real life and things like that when we start our conversion video series. Grips, you guys can see the grips here. Again, more grip options are available than Modern Warfare 2019. All around, there's so many more attachments here in the game. You have the magazine options for this particular M4 platform. Again, with that receiver type, you have the base of 30, 45 round, and 60 round quad stack casket for the 5.56 by 45 NATO. And then ammo types. This is going to be pretty interesting too. I'm glad they're bringing this back from Vanguard. 5.56 frangible, armor piercing.
So I have some mixed feelings about the ammo. Number one, frangible ammo is not something you'd necessarily want to use in combat, because the thing with frangible ammo, it's very weak ammo. It's I mean, it might have a certain velocity that's true to the caliber, but the problem is it's basically like compressed dust. So when it hits things, it doesn't like penetrate it. You know, so does, you know, depending on what you shot, of course. If you shot a stuffed animal, yeah, it would penetrate it. If you shot like a metal door, it probably wouldn't even go through. So, you know, that's the type of ammunition you want to use on like steel plates and stuff, because it doesn't do that much damage when it hits. Now, the armor piercing ammo looks pretty cool. Now, there's two types of armor piercing, specific armor piercing ammo for the 5.56. Now, the first type is the type you see here. It's actually the brand new ammunition that the military started using in the M4s. I forget exactly what it's called, but it looks basically like that, just it has a brass shell. And then there's your green tip 62 grain ammo, which is actual 5.56 NATO. It has a green tip on it, has a steel penetrator. It does penetrate a little bit more, so that's your armor piercing. That's kind of like your armor piercing Gen 1 or Gen 2 ammo. But what they're showing there is a little bit more advanced. And then who knows what else is going to be unlocked. I think there's some cool potential. I'd imagine some might be incendiary, some might be explosive. But when it comes to 5.56 rounds, if you've ever seen them in real life, they're super tiny. So to make explosive rounds, I think would be definitely cringe, because you're not going to have 55 grain explosive rounds. You're definitely going to have incendiary or tracer, if you will. Those are literally the same thing. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the frangible. They should just call that FMJ or ball ammo, because that's basically what it is. It's what it's supposed to be. Frangible ammo is just a terrible. I don't know where they got the idea for that, but you got to change that. That's garbage. Nobody is going to use frangible ammo in combat unless they want to lose. But anyway, let's see what else we got.
And we have the other ones are classified, but we can see kind of what these are in other ones too. And we can look at those later. But again, those are all of the attachments. Unfortunately, we can't inspect and like rotate this weapon around yet in this particular build, which is kind of a bummer. But then we have receivers. So receivers are going to convert this into a different weapon, which is going to be in different categories. So the M16 is also in the AR category. The Icarus is the LMG. That's going to be the LMG category. That's the fight light. The Recon is going to be in the marksman or the battle rifle category. And the Hurricane is going to be that AR-57. That's going to be in the SMG category. So if we look at the customization, obviously a lot of this is locked. We can't do camos or anything. Progression. So again, how these receiver options work. Start with the M4 and then it branches off. So that we've seen this a little bit and it was talked about. We have the FTAC Recon here in 4.58 SOCOM for a battle rifle. You have the SMG for the AR-57. You have the Fight Light MCR as the 5.56 Icarus. And then you have the M16 unlocked there as well. And you can look at progression for all these across the tree as well and see the attachments. Obviously, we're limited with the attachments here in the beta, so we can't get all of them. But the good thing is when you unlock an attachment for one platform, you get it for the rest, which is awesome. So if I wanted to convert this to an M16, I would just do so by selecting the M16. And again, really unique custom attachments here. If I were to just take all of these off, and I could put on instead like a 203, it's going to change that to a Grenadier barrel. Remove that. Remove that. And the gunsmith is a little bit buggy, but there's our classic M16, essentially from Modern Warfare or COD 4. And again, it is 3-round burst. So again, I can switch it to the light machine gun. And there's going to be, again, specific weapon attachments per platform or the receiver type that you use. Some are shared, some are new and only specific to that weapon. So a lot of the optics and things are shared. Some of the barrels and muzzle attachments though, and grips, things like that, are custom, which is really, really cool to see. Under barrels, we're kind of limited with a lot of this ammunition. Again, you see a lot of these frangible, there's armor piercing, and there's more that I'll look at with the other guns that I have fully leveled up. 100 round box mag for that. The Recon looks really, really nice. I made...
Now, I got to be honest, one of the guns that I'm most excited for in this game is definitely the bell-fed machine guns. I freaking love them. I want to be able to make an M249 Bravo, a SAW, you know, hopefully with any luck, the, what do you call it, the bipod, you can post up on things and have a really locked down sight picture when you're squeezing off rounds. I'm very excited for that. I saw them and I saw all the capability there. Man, it would be pretty awesome. It would be also pretty awesome just to see if the SAW could accept AR magazines, because in real life it really can. It's 249, it's a 5.56 bell-fed machine gun, but it does have an area, I think it's underneath the feeding tray, where you can literally put an M16 magazine into it, and it'll feed from that magazine. So I'm kind of curious to see if you can use the 30-round magazines, the 45-round magazines, the 60-round magazines for that. Not like I will, and not like it's very practical, but it would be cool to see if that's kind of an option for it, because you know, that would just be something awesome to see. Like, oh, cool. You know, these guys were doing the research and they were paying attention. That's kind of awesome.
Some crazy builds with that. And then you have the Hurricane receiver there to turn it into the SMG. So overall, that's how the gunsmith works right now. And you can see the different muzzle attachments. So I can just put on a bunch of, play around with the barrels. We have a bunch of different real world conversions variants here, so we can play with these. This is just one specific one I was messing around with and having a good time with. Here was this one, I believe, is what I had it, how I had it built up. And I put this stock on here for additional recoil control and stability. This thing's pretty nice too. Now, really quick, so that's the M4. Now, at level 13, you unlock the Glock 18C. So this is going to be full auto Glock and 9mm. And again, once you reach the final level here for the beta, your reward is if you were to select it, and then it brings you to this. So you can see your different ones. And if I go to Armory, it'll give me my reward for the side impact unlock, and that has that, whether it's a Fab Defense or a Caltech or whatever chassis on there. Again, it gives you that PDW chassis for this Glock 18, which is great. So, and you have increased magazine capacity on this, I believe, up to.
So not bad with the chassis. It's not. I'm not a big fan of it, but I don't see how you could put it in a holster. But whatever, you know, it looks cool. It's some extra little flair for the game. It's not bad. Looks like it has a Hive magazine extension on it. So, you know, whatever. Good idea. Not bad. It's just more options. So, you know, that's cool to see. But that's all I got to say about that. Let's see what else we got going on.
24, which is cool. So, one thing to note here, though, a lot of these weapons you'll unlock and you cannot do attachments. So, for example, if I were to go to my AR-57 and I open up, let's just say I wanted to instead select the AK, right? Since I unlocked the AK, how can I level this thing up? I'm going to equip it. Gunsmith is not available. Why is that? Level 1 of 1. So a lot of these weapons are stuck at level 1 of 1, so you can't use the gunsmith. They obviously are doing this for a reason. They don't want to give away what the game's going to look like, what the attachments are, what the conversions are, which is good for me because it'll save everything for when the game comes out. But really cool. You see the different weapons here. Now, how do you get use the Lockman 5.6? Since this one apparently is supposed to be locked, and I did unlock it thanks to, shout out in chat, Chase helped me out in the live stream. So if I were to gunsmith this, I unlocked, as you level it up, you unlock the attachments, you unlock the receivers. So here, again, when we look at platforms and conversions, the RAP H is the HK21 LMG. The Lockman sub, this is the MP5, so I have that unlocked now. The Lockman 7.62, I won't be able to unlock till week 2 of the beta. That's the G3. Lockman 5.56 is the base weapon I have here, the HK33-53. And then the LMS is the PSG-1 marksman rifle. So, again, you have unique attachments for each weapon. These barrels are specific.
So the height on this optic here, it's the same main point we just talked about, but the height on it is actually pretty good. For a weapon like this, you want a low mount. so it's perfect. The problem is when you get into scars and ARs and Brens, those types of weapons with rails all the way across, you need to hold off for the iron sights. But anyway, yeah, this is a good elevation. I like it a lot. I just wanted to take a moment to point that out. And another thing when it comes to the weapons systems, the receivers and whatnot, I keep looking for an FAL type of system. Haven't seen it yet. This is kind of as close as we've come so far, but the thing about the G3s is that the trigger mechanism gets really dirty, you know, and it's a game. Obviously, you're not going to be cleaning these guns, but when you know the mechanics of them and you kind of know how they work and you know the characteristics of them, you see stuff like that and it kind of gets you. Like, I don't like G3 type weapons. Just because, like, even the MP5, like, I love the MP5, but cleaning it is a pain in the ass when you get to the trigger mechanism, or the trigger pack, if you will. So I keep trying to find a way that I can make an FAL. Maybe it's not in this, maybe it's in the actual game when it does come out. I'm looking forward to see if that'll work out or not.
Specific to these weapons, the stocks are specific to these weapons, and if I were to select a different platform or receiver from this, my attachments again would differ slightly. Some would share and some would be different. You can see the different options here. Magazines, you have a 60 drum mag, 45 round, 15 round. There's a lot of different things here that you can do with this game. So how do you unlock or equip the Lockman 556 or the HK 3353? So how do you do that? Let me just make a new class, and I'll actually, yeah, I'll do it with this. So edit. We're gonna do a, we're gonna put on a shotgun. So I'll equip the shotgun, equipped it, and then for the pistol, I'm just going to select any pistol. Just do that, and then now that that's equipped, shotgun, pistol, I want to go to my perks, and I want to go to the one that gives me overkill. So we can do assault or a deadeye, whichever one you want. And then if I do that, when I select that, you can see now that my secondary turns to the Lockman 556. So now you can use this as your secondary, and as you level it up, you'll be able to do the attachments like I did. But you need to have the shotgun as your primary, and you need to have the pistol as a secondary, and then you need to select the overkill, just like you watched me do. So if I deselect something else, there we go, I have my pistol. So this is how your class should look: anything with a shotgun, pistol, and then once it's like that, go ahead and put on anything with overkill, and it should default to the HK 3353. And then from there, again, you can level that up and do the attachments. And since I've unlocked some of the some of the receivers, like right now I have the MP5 unlocked, okay, and I don't believe you're supposed to have this unlocked. And you can see some of the different barrel options, some of the different ammo. There's going to be different ammo types, 45 round, 50 round drum, different attachments here for this that you can use. So obviously you would have to level these up. Now these weapons are supposed to be unlocked in the beta. For whatever reason, maybe there was a bug and they weren't unlocked when I started playing.
So I wanted to take a moment to talk about the height of these optics. See, again, another example of the G3 types, or the receiver, if you will. Of course, this is an MP5. The low mount for this, I guess you can call it an RMR, is perfect. That's exactly how it should be. It should be low. But one thing I just want to point out is that there are other optics that are raised up, and which look perfectly fine on the AR. The thing about those optics is they actually go perfectly on these weapon systems too, and they have a what's the word? They have a spacer, like a lower profile spacer, that'll get the optic lower onto weapons like this, where you'd want a lower sitting optic. You know what I'm saying? So I just realized that my gripe about the aim point might turn into a ton of work because the optics are kind of more specific to the type of weapon it is. If you have again, like I said, an AR or Bren, AR, Bren, SCAR, ACR, any of those, you want the higher sitting optics because you can of course you can, what do you call it, co-witness your sights there. But for weapons like that, the G3 types, the AK types, I guess the FAL types, if there's one in this game, those sort of weapon systems, you want lower sitting optics. So that's kind of something to maybe focus on, fix up, change it if at all possible. Anyway, just wanted to put that in there.
And I had to do this, but I don't believe if I were to create a new class, you should not be able to select that. So it is still locked, you can see there. So just keep that in mind. Really interesting. You can, again, build a lot of good stuff here. And the cool thing is, like at the FTAC Recon and 458 SOCOM, this thing, if I were to equip it, you come at base with that stock. So I believe that stock is going to have the benefits that the stock does without taking up an attachments, because this weapon is a new base weapon overall. This is not an M4. This is a battle rifle in 458 SOCOM. So this is just how it comes. The stats are completely different. This is a completely different weapon. So you can build this thing up, and it has, again, like I said, unique attachments. Even though some of the barrels may look similar and things like that, you have unique attachments, like this suppressor here, the Forge Tac Dreadnought suppressor. You have a specific compensator here for this as well. I'll put on the suppressor. Underbarrel attachment, I can put on any one of these I want. Optic, I can put on the 7x thermal. And the magazine, you have a 5-round of 458 SOCOM. The base is 10, then you have a 15 round. So that's increased from what it was in the base Modern Warfare 2019. You only had the 10 round, and that was it. It goes full auto and semi-auto. So this thing is a ton of fun to use. I used it quite a bit on stream, and I had a blast with it. And again, you have other barrels like the Bull Rider 16.5 inch. This locks your muzzle in place, so you can't select the muzzle attachment. We saw these type of attachments that are going to lock out other attachments in Modern Warfare 2019. So again, that's really good to see coming back. A lot of different attachments here. Overall, it looks awesome, and I'm really excited. Now, obviously, there's a lot of weapons missing from this list, but I'll get into that more so tomorrow. So these are the loadouts so far that I've been kind of messing around with. That's how you create your loadouts, and you can make some really cool builds here with the gunsmith. The M4 is a really good weapon. The Lockman 5.56, I would definitely recommend trying that out if you want to unlock it and do what I did there. It should be unlockable sometime in the beta. I'm not sure why it isn't yet, because Infinity Board did tweet that you would be able to use it. So it's a lot of fun, and we'll be able to get our hands on the G3 next week. And the only issue is things like the SCAR. When we level it up, you'll have the beta blueprint available for you, which has attachments. But again, the SCAR, AKS-74U, the Vector, the Benelli M4, the Negave 7, and the Mark II, and the Lynx are all level 101. So there are default classes that have some of these equipped for your default classes, but when you unlock them, you can't gunsmith all these. So we won't be able to see kind of the conversions, because I guarantee you that the SCAR also has a battle rifle version. It probably also has a marksman rifle version for sure, and potentially an LMG version. So let me know what you guys think of this. The gunsmith overall, really, really pretty weapons here. I wanted to give you guys the overview. Tomorrow we'll go into all the weapons from the multiplayer trailer yesterday, as well as the Warzone trailer, and we'll break down all the weapons that are in that trailer, all the weapons here in the game, which we kind of briefly went through here, and what's missing, because there's obviously a lot of weapons missing that we're not seeing in the beta build that we've broken down in previous videos. So go ahead and check out those videos on the channel. Just go ahead and look at the very recent videos I did. Were all confirmed weapons I did about 2 days ago. It was a 30-minute video, but everything I laid out in that video was correct for the platforms, and I theorized the weapons that we would get based on what we knew and the conversions. So that's, I think, a very good indication of what we're going to see. The good thing is here, one weapon, at the very least, like with the M4, has 5 different total weapons that you can make from it. That's not including other conversions that I've seen, other variants. Looking at the M4 in general, just as a whole, I can, just playing with it, and I don't have all the attachments unlocked here in the beta, I've made over 15 different conversions of variants easily. So we have a lot of content to get through here, and these aren't even all the attachments in the beta that are available in the game in the beta. So they're restricting the content, rightfully so. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you enjoying the beta? I had a great time playing it. I'll be streaming, like I said, over the next couple days, and we'll definitely be grinding more so next week as well, when we can level up and unlock additional weapons with that level cap increase. And we'll also be probably things like Ground War. I'll have some gameplay here on the channel as well going forward. So let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. I wanted to give you guys a brief overview to the gunsmith. It's really, really cool, and I had a blast with it. And again, the default classes, if you want to use some of the weapons that are locked, you can do that. Like the Lynx, the Vector, things like that, you can definitely use. And I would definitely say this Lockwood is a lot of fun. The HK-53 is a lot of fun to use. This thing is fun. Very flat firing, easy to use, and again, just overall fun. And I love this receiver. We're going to have a lot of conversions here on the channel. So great couple days here on the channel. Love the support. Thank you guys very much. Glad to be back with some modern warfare content, some modern guns. No more of that World War II, Cold War garbage. So I love it. I'm loving it. Really excited to bring you guys the content. Till next time, this is B.L.P Gaming with the Modern Warfare 2 early open beta gunsmith preview. Till next time, B.L.P Gaming.
Alright guys, so that was Buff Nerd Gaming. If you're interested in following him, head over to his channel, like and subscribe, whatever. I don't know him. He made the best customizing video of Modern Warfare 2 that I've seen so far. I've watched a ton of them, as many of them as I could. Anyhow, excellent job well done. Buff Nerd Gaming, great job. So anyway, guys, that was just my 2 cents. Having a history in military, U.S. Navy, security contracting, police, sheriff's deputy, all that sort of shit. Coming from somebody like me, an end user who very much knows these weapon systems inside and out. Well, I hope that some developers could potentially find this in a good amount of time and make some adjustments, and that would be awesome. The 2 definite adjustments I would like to see is the AK platform, certainly firing a 7.62x3.9, and also those optics. Do a little bit more work with those optics, and I think we got a solid game that'll last a long time. So that's all I got for you guys today. Stay safe, stay smart, and I'll talk to you all next time. Blue Line Patriot, signing out. Thanks for watching, guys. Before you go, I want to let you know about my store. The link is in the description below. If you like tactical, anti-woke stuff, this is the place for you. I have lots of t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and other stuff that make for great gifts, underclothes, gear, and loud and proud statements. Look cool, or just troll the snowflakes with Blue Line Patriot apparel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay up to date with my content. But above all, stay safe, stay smart. Blue Line Patriot, out.